Hello, everybody. Welcome here to another Kerfuffle Spotlight. And I am delighted to have the powerhouse, and that's the company, but no less the person here, of Sprift and Mr. Matt Gilpin. How are you, sir? You okay?
Very well, very well. I had a birthday yesterday, and 29 again, 39 again. But not feeling too bad. Not feeling too shabby after that.
You're looking very good. I would have said happy birthday to you, but I'm currently in Facebook jail. So for the billionth time this year, I can only assume that Zuckerberg thinks that I'm a threat and keeps putting me away.
That'll be it.
That was why I didn't publicly say happy birthday, but happy birthday belated to you now. And I suppose that's a perfect segue to talk about, this year on year. You just keep hitting these dates, keep hitting these innovation. I obviously said you were the most, I think, innovative company of 2021, if I'm getting my dates right and everything else. And then not too long ago, just to echo the fact, something I didn't think I would see happen, but you knocked Stephen Brown off the top spot of the Kerfuffle leaderboard as well, with hundreds and hundreds of positive reviews. So I think that's something to be really, really proud of. And obviously, it's great to see your trajectory as a business now, just going into more and more innovation, more and more great businesses. And we're going to talk today, aren't we, about introducing Sprift 3.0, more data in less time. So do you want to just kick us off with that? Just to give maybe just give an overview of how you felt last year went for yourself as a business.
Yeah, thank you, bud. And on the whole, we kind of just keep trying to do same good, honest job that we've become renowned for, and we've always. I often say, in fact, it's probably my most sort of commonly used saying is that it's a long time since Sprift was all my idea, and we continue to evolve and innovate based on feedback from all of our clients and friends in the industry. So. Gives us a very full dev roadmap. But yeah, we listen and act upon what the kind of the masses are requesting. And yeah, so there's plenty of that last year, and what we've done so far this year, sort of culminating in this launch, is really kind of sort of sit back and go, right, well, really, where can we take this, and where's it really going? Because I truly believe in the saying "innovate or die." We never look to rest on our laurels. There's always plenty in the roadmap for us. But this year we want to sort of push it even further, really.
Well, you were kind enough to invite me in the early stages when Sprift was. It seems crazy now, and all these great ideas. But what I think is just amazing is that. You had, as you said, it's not like you didn't have enough ideas already on there, but where it's bounced out from now, and I think you're just in that wonderful spot as well, is you've clearly got a hugely innovative team throwing innovation from within the company, but you've also got that very difficult thing where it's for competitors to catch up, because you've got so many leading agents now that unless you were mad and ignored their requests, they're going to keep you on your toes and developing the stuff that's going to be hyper relevant in the markets that you're operating in today.
Yeah, exactly that, and competition is a good thing, and feedback from clients, or I guess demands from clients of now we want this, and now we want to do this, and say some of our biggest clients where we're very entrenched with throughout many parts of their business, and we're increasingly talking or being referred to, especially. A lot of leading businesses as being their data partner. And there's actually, and that just where that can go, it's really really exciting. But yes, it does definitely keeps us honest. It keeps us on our toes. Yeah, for sure. But we kind of we're up to the job on.
Not many holidays planned for the months ahead anyway, I would imagine, for you.
I'm quite a keen skier, so I'm kind of in fact, bumped into Ed Mead at the top of a ski lift in Val d'Isere a couple of weeks back.
You shameless name dropper. That is truly shameless name dropping. Yeah.
Mr. Matt, yes,
Mr. Viewwood doing it on the slopes. That's great.
Yeah,
So give us an idea then, Matt. What's Sprift 3.0 in a nutshell? How would you describe it?
So in effect, it's kind of 3.0. It's it's the third iteration, if you like, of our platform, our data platform. It starts with our dashboard, and in effect, we had to rebuild a lot of our technical architecture to now kind of leap forward again. It's almost kind of many a time we've referred to we're going to need a bigger boat from Jaws. We're going to need a bigger dashboard, because trying to put sort of data in, whether that data is just it could be just a piece of information, it could be map-based data, it could be 3D data, it could be all sorts of different formats it comes in, but trying to process all of that, because we're this huge aggregation machine, pulling this data in from so many disparate sources back down to one dashboard. We go, right, that's the property that you are buying, selling, renting, financing, conveying, surveying, all those different functions people use the platform for. And so 3.0, it's a brand new dashboard. It's built it's a big sort of very much future-proofing us. It will allow us to just get so much more data cleaned and released onto the platform to be added, or for the professional to digest, to review, but also add into myriad of different reports. It was almost a sort of from the ground up rebuild. It needed to be done, and now to allow us to move forward very, very agile.
So I mean, that's one of the key elements, isn't it? It's often easy to have a nice, simple system, a nice, clean UI when you've got very little to display on it. That challenge, if you've got no data, it solves itself. The real challenge of a business as it grows is when you have to layer in these fantastic, wonderful data lakes and data pools, as you were talking about, but still to make sure that the everyday user can find that and just enjoy using it properly, and turn that data into actionable information, I suppose, is the key challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, it's exactly that. And we've always, touch wood, received great feedback that Sprift's really easy to use, really intuitive. But then, exactly as you say, it's a big challenge to then go, right, so you want it to continue to be intuitive, if not get even easier to use. But at the same time, Mr. Client, you're asking for these additional data sets you want in there, right? So how do we kind of solve that problem? And that's kind of what we think we've done, and the sort of feedback. We released a sort of a beta version of people to play with it, but now the full version is live, and hopefully that's what we've achieved.
Cool. And so specifically, so how has it improved from the previous dashboard? Give us some examples of what previous users will experience when they get their hands on this.
So a number of the key ones. I mean, you've always been able to look up any property in the UK through Sprift, actually including non-residential properties. But let's say of the 29, so some stats for you, 29.59 million UK residential properties. Before we had about 100 and it was continually growing, but let's say 150 individual data points per property. We're now up to over 250 through the new dashboard. So, and it's stuff that's just coming us all the time, that stuff we were asked for probably maybe even 3-4 years ago. But how the hell are we going to figure that out? Where are we going to be able to go and get that from? And a lot of this data is now our own data. So where we might be pulling data in from that source and that source and that source, and then we've processed it over a period of time. Now, actually, we're able to make a lot more deductions within the platform. We're also we're whole of market now, which we have been for a little while, but having a real push on comparable. So
Yeah.
the comparable engine has had a hell of a lot of work to that, and we're putting a lot more information in there, so that because we've been using machine learning to look at, okay, well, why if we know that there's 22 Acacia Avenue, so an agent's coming in looking at 22 Acacia Avenue, let's sort of try and guess the comparables they're going to be looking up for that property. It's like, oh, actually, no, they selected those ones. Well, why is that? And so then when you start to try and deduce what were the triggers, what were the deciders in that respect. So that's a big part of what our data scientists have been up to as well. But yes, we're now sort of hold a market on that, which has been a big improvement to the comparables engine.
Well, when you take that up to, what did you say it was before? There was about 150 up to 250. So that's quite a, that's a big increase there, especially as you said. I mean, I was staggered when you gave me those stats before. So yeah, 29.59 million properties. That's just such a staggering amount when you multiply it out by all those data points. And I think I remember you talking about the exciting elements of where you envisage Sprift being on that journey, where yes, you're pulling all this data in, but when that starting to be able to do this stuff yourself, and you're the actual data creator as well, is where you were getting into the special sauce there, weren't you?
Yeah, exactly. And that's where, again, that's why we've had to, and we actually engaged some of the kind of experts in the field at kind of UI UX. So how best to navigate a website, a dashboard, just so that we could have the ability to present all of this data, and especially because a lot of it's comes in geospatial form, so map-based data that being able to still retain that ease of use, but being able to access so much more information, even quicker. Just loading all of our dashboards, loading all our data as quickly as possible. We've been through some pain with that whilst getting the architecture right, and so we're going, you guys, almost are you developing too quickly? You're trying to get kind of ahead of yourselves, and so actually no, but just bear with us. We've got to go through this pain to then kind of shoot out the other side, and kind of fortunately we're there now. But with each additional data set you want to add comes a whole sort of myriad of problems about how best present that and access it, and then what does the user want to be able to do with that? Do you want to be able to put that in a report? Do you want to be able to share that online, etc.?
And I guess it's not. I guess, Matt, it's not static as well. So just because you've established data sources in the past, if some of those sources change where they're being stored, or they enhance that as well, there's a continual iterative improvement to making sure there's a continuation of those data fields to your clients that have grown used to it, isn't there? And making sure that you're always keeping an eye, I suppose, almost on the leaky bucket of data to make sure that you're not actually losing anything off the back of it.
Yeah, I often talk about it's property data in the UK. Even with the big bodies we have that hold some of it, it's still an absolute wild west of just data, I guess, cataloging, if you like. They're all using different methodologies. They're all hold it in different ways, different places, update it differently. Say it's going to update on that date, then it doesn't, and not particularly good at communicating all of that. So it's it's not always the most exciting of subjects, but we're long in the tooth with it, and so we kind of know most of sort of the games and the tricks that kind of go on, and just I don't know, we're kind of I don't know, water off the duck's back nowadays. Let's not get too excited about it. But it's a job in itself, just keeping an eye on it, as you say.
I thought you were going to call yourself something like a data Jedi, or you're going to really mix it up there. But anyway, but I mean, the truth is though, because of all those disparate sources, it had to take a company like you to kind of pull that together, and therein lies the advantage. You're doing the job for the agents that, you know, even the others couldn't do. So give us an idea then, Matt. What's the, you know, don't list all of those extra, whatever they are, going up to 250, but what new data has been added to Sprift 3.0 that agents will enjoy?
So a lot of the stuff we're getting now is a lot more around condition of the property. We're getting a lot more requests for sort of environmental information. So, you know, obviously we've had mobile and broadband in there for years and years and years, but now looking at things like, you know, the air quality, the property, you know, radon, stuff that's going to, as we now move into the whole material information, information, whatever, you know, people want to call it, but just needing to have that, you know, bit the trading standards, a bit some of the other bodies that are putting together this guidance for what is upfront information. Actually, a lot more of the, I guess the kind of the mandatory legal information that needs to be in there. So yeah, that's all. We're putting all of that, in as well. So yeah, a lot of ESG stuff, a lot of social community and social infrastructure. That's stuff that we're cleaning up some stuff at the moment for that. And then kind of, you know, the as we look for, so it's ESG sustainability. You know, is a property, you know, can it take solar panels, for example? What about, you know, EV charging points? Even just knowing it's got a, you know, a garage or a driveway to have a charging point. Lots of that kind of stuff now is the stuff that we're kind of, you know, where the there's a big I guess a big drive for a lot more of that information, and we're there catering for that.
Are you running out of you know, is the glass ceiling in kind of sight in terms of the you know, the most relevant stuff that you need now? Is it do you feel like you're getting to a mature stage of where this is the kind of limits of what can be achieved?
I think there will always be something new, and there'll always be that sort of holy grail of, wow, yeah, if we could only go and find that and know that, then it would unlock a load of other data sets for us. But I think that for the first time ever on our journey, one of our goals this year is excellence within the data. Anybody that has played around with property data will tell you that it's just that the problem is that the stakeholders of the data there's not a program of data accuracy within a lot of these stakeholders. In effect, they're just kind of regurgitating what somebody what a human has entered into a legal form or into a sort of an energy assessment or something like that. So it is fraught with issues and inaccuracies. But yes, we are certainly on the kind of our main core data sets that people need to transact and people use us for. We're not there yet, but now for the first time we can really see that we're in sort of grasping distance of absolute excellence, and that's, you know, and our whole data team working very much on that. But yes, it's nice to be getting that close for sure. With all these years.
What do you feel you empower an agent to do? An agent going head to head with other agents that don't use Sprift. What would you like to think that those agents say about you in terms of how it helps them?
Well, it's less kind of what I think. It's sort of, you know, everything that we hear back from agents and you know, and their clients as well. And yes, it saves time. That's kind of, you know, the number one thing it does. It obviously helps the agent when at a time when we know it's in these studies. You're part of one about, you know, why does a homeowner choose the agent that they're gonna list with, and fee is, you know, down the list, whereas trust is really high up there. And obviously somebody turning up with armed with all the information we've given them about that property they're going to, couple that with their local knowledge, market knowledge, presence in the market, it quickly gains trust with the homeowner. And once you've got that piece on board, then yes, it's an instruction winner. That was the first, if you like, big thing that agents cottoned onto with us. Is like, hang on, this is a differentiator. It can be a real instruction winner. But now it goes so much further than that, because actually, if you can, yes, you're turning up armed with a load of information, but if you can use that for fact checking, so it's like, right, so all the data that's out there is saying that your property's this, it was built then, it's this size, it's this, just raft of information. Someone's like, actually, no, or no, we own a bit more of the garden than that, or well, no, we've sold that bit, or oh no, actually, the telephone signal is better than that. With Vodafone signal around here is better than that saying. It's like, great, okay, well, let's deal with that now, because otherwise it's going to come up with questions from the prospective buyers. It could come up in the conveyancing process. So why don't we, but the more that can be handled up front, the smoother the transaction. And hey, everyone would like smoother transactions.
That's absolutely what I think is fascinating there, though, is actually sometimes you could come from this, as you mentioned, you're the data partner, and that can sound a little bit cold, but isn't it interesting that actually what the end result is for the agents is actually, it's all about those people skills again, isn't it? As you said, the most desirable thing you want to have is about trust, authenticity, and knowledge, and those are the things that you're empowering the agents, which are obviously just day-to-day aids for classic sales skills.
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly. I mean, it's like any piece of tech that agents engage with. It's not there to replace them. It's just there, let them concentrate on what they're good at, building the rapport, building relationship, and it's an enabler for that. Certainly. Somebody said a couple of years ago about us is it's the ultimate conversation starter, and we hear from agents so many times. It's like, oh, well actually I just buy, if I leave one of your reports on their coffee table, that's not being thrown in the bin anytime soon. Whereas probably a load of my other sort of pamphlets and brochures and what have you might not last quite such a long time.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
That's great. So, and you mentioned as well, even though you're layering in all this extra data and everything else there, you've spent a lot of time working on just on like the UI and the navigation there, have you? So how is that going to manifest itself for users now? Is it did it take a complete overhaul, or was it a mini evolution of the UI?
Yeah, it was just if you think. It's almost kind of just sitting there and examining, right, is that click necessary?
Yeah.
Is that, does that menu need to be put in a drop down that I've then got to click in on the drop down? I've then got to click the item in the list. Yeah. If I want to, I'm sort of looking at a property and I want to see some other information about another property, can that be made a lot more readily available rather than having to sort of go and click into that one and then see everything about that one. So I'd like to think we've removed a lot of the unnecessary and not necessarily I've got to go back there to start again to then come back to the same place type thing. So it's an art and a whole industry to itself, kind of sorting all that stuff out, and you almost kind of want to do it and release it, and people almost like not notice that you've kind of done it and go, oh yeah, right, it seems that I'm getting these kind of whizzing through this even faster, and it wasn't slow before, but again then as we start layering in the all the new data that's coming, then you'll see from there that that's kind of why as well we had to do this.
Well, I can't wait to have a look. I mean, one of the things I've always loved about it, and certainly that comes across in many of those reviews, as I said, there's hundreds of reviews on kerfuffle.com, is that it always Sprift just felt intuitive. You know, you didn't need to use a manual, you didn't need a huge amount of training and anything else. That it was very, very, and that's when it's, as you just said there, it's yourself, isn't it? That's when I think, you know, you're on the right track there, when it's just when it works out of the boxes, because there's so few things these days do, don't they? And actually, when you've got as we know ourselves, agents have on average 20 different suppliers, most of those being PropTech there, it's very difficult to get you know, to get proficient, to get expert with any number of those, especially if they are very difficult to learn and everything else, because you might have one super user within the branch who's a bit of a whiz kid, but actually the qualitative delivery of service to the public comes when actually everyone in the office is using the systems well.
And I quite agree. And I think it's, again, we haven't always got it right. You act upon it, than it falling on deaf ears. But yeah, we try and react pretty quickly to good suggestions like that for sure. But yeah, hopefully it's an improvement. So as you say, if they're clicking through different systems, that ours isn't going to be one that is, oh god, right, I've got to go and use that, and how do I do it again? Yeah.
So specifically then, you mentioned the comparables. That's going to be a popular one with the agents, isn't it? So how's that going to help your agency clients then, Matt?
It's more the fact that we've got a couple of things that are top secret at the moment, but having spent a long time looking at why an agent will select the comparables that they're selecting, what are those triggers, and be it, you know, we see some agents that will select 20, 30 comparables, some that will just have 3. And that doesn't necessarily tend to vary according to kind of, you know, which market they're in. It's really sort of a kind of a just a real personal choice, maybe how they were kind of, you know, trained in agency. But yeah, there are things that that we saw and we thought, oh well, hang on a minute, right? If you've got a problem there with, say, I don't know, a missing piece of data, or you've got a problem with something that hasn't yet shown at land registry, say, but you know, the agent feels that's a big part of their presentation to the homeowner, and it's a really strong comparable. Yeah, how does one kind of handle that sort of thing? So there's a lot of sort of additional features coming within comparables. Again, just to kind of, you know, it's probably a part of what agents do that hasn't really been touched for a number of years. So let's now kind of take an innovative look at comparables, and you know, what does a kind of a modern comparable engine look like, and that's what we've built and released the early features of it, with more to come.
Your big tease. So what, just a matter of interest, Matt, when people are using that comparables tool, are they doing it mainly by printing off reports, or are they doing it with a laptop with the potential vendor and the clients? How are they? Is it a mix, or are they predominantly doing it on screen?
It's a real mix, and actually we actually a lot of agents do both. Okay. So it's kind of, look, let me sort of do the online presentation while I'm sat with you, but I'm going to leave you the printed version behind, or let's run through the printed report whilst we're sat face to face. I'll leave that with you, but then follow that up with a you know, emailing over a link. Real sort of horses for courses there, and even within individual businesses, or within businesses, there'll be different people trying different things, but for us, it's all about, look, the more information you can share up front, positions you correctly, potentially there's some fact checking going to go on in there, and then sell the story that, you know, this is chosen these comparables because this, you know, X, Y, Z, and so you actually kind of, you know, you can sell the story that you want when you're with the homeowner, and hopefully win their trust right there.
And as you said, look, agency's all about conversation starters, looking to be able to have that next element there. And with 250 of those conversation starters, you're always going to be able to find something, aren't you, to pique their interest.
Yeah, yeah, and I think especially in a market where like we're in currently, where it's sort of getting the valuation isn't necessarily the problem. It's sort of converting the listing.
Yeah.
Being able to use our platform again, online, face to face, with the reports to go, okay, well look, so you told me you like me, you like the sort of price I'm talking about. Now I've told you house has gone up 10% over the last year, so who wouldn't? And so you're going to list with me, but you can't find anything to buy. So let's kind of leave it there. It's those, I think, the agents that are successful at the moment is where the conversation doesn't stop there. Go, right, let me help you with your onward purchase.
Right.
And because the platform's unlocked nationally, it doesn't necessarily have to be that you can just help them with a property search in your patch. And so, they might be in Oxford and they want to move down to Cornwall. It's like, right, okay, well, what sort of thing are you looking for in Cornwall? And again, start generating reports on properties maybe of interest for your prospective vendor to buy. And that's again, that's a great way of it might be those properties aren't of interest, but it's keeping you front of mind.
Yeah.
Another reason to go back in a couple of weeks' time and say, oh look, let's do you want to let's have a look again at properties that might have come up for sale in the area you're thinking of moving to. Because certainly if you can do that buyer piece, that buyer representation piece, then you've got a lot better chance of getting them to list.
And you can really only do that with Sprift, can't you? Because many of the other data providers do it on quite tight postcode areas, don't they? So you're very restricted, aren't you, in the way that you're not so much with Sprift, is my understanding.
I'm not aware of sort of who does what and where, but I know when we launched our key facts of buyers, it was 2 weeks into lockdown 1.
Yeah.
We were the first people to do that. Have a proper look. There you are. There's a buyer search function and report, and it was it's definitely right product, right place, right time. Then, because again, it sort of allowed agents to keep the conversation going without coming across 2 sales at a time. They definitely knew they couldn't be, and I think kind of we're sort of the market's very similar at this time. So how do you stay front of mind without just ringing up and say, ready to list yet? Ready to list yet?
Yeah.
Found anything? So let me help you with that. So yes.
Nice. So I dare to ask though, Matt, what can you tell us about what's next for Sprift in 2022? Because I know you don't want to lose your innovation award, do you?
Our coveted kerfuffle innovation of the year, innovators award. Yeah. I think that there's for a long time now we've been talking about upfront information is all well and good. Yeah, we were sort of first people out there collating, aggregating this data at a property specific level, and so we've been wearing that hat for many years. But now what we're actually doing is really helping that data not just be upfront for the agent, or not as upfront for the homeowner or the buyer, but everybody that's involved in the property transaction is going to be a part of that property transaction. Get eyes on it, a single source of truth, see that information and just go, is that what you think you're buying? Is that what you're selling? Yes, right, fine. So you've got to go and get a mortgage on that. You've got to do the conveyancing on that for the buyer, you for the seller. Everybody can look at that. And so there's a lot more just collaboration going on within the platform now. And so yes, that's kind of a lot of sort of our it has been for some time our journey of travel, and it's really only sort of picking up pace now.
Great. Well, look, thank you for taking the time here. Obviously, it goes without saying, make sure people go and have a look at the Sprift landing page on kerfuffle.com. See many of those, as we said, hundreds of positive reviews. I think you're 4.9 with hundreds of reviews, which is bloody difficult to get in such a demanding marketplace like this. One of the ones that jumped out for me that I think I've heard you talk about before, actually, is just that somebody made mention to the fact that on average it saves 2.5 hours of research time per property. You know, there's loads of good reasons to come on board, but when you've got that dual factor of time saving and the ability to win business, it's not hard to see why it's so well loved by so many agents, is it?
Fingers crossed.
There you go. Well, as long as you keep on top of that. Right. For today then, Matt, thank you very much for that. Look forward to catching up with you, obviously, with those going forwards.
Always good to talk the exciting world of data with you, Simon.
You know I'm a fan. Cheers, matey. Bye.
Thank you, buddy. Bye-bye.